Hey everybody, welcome to episode 4 of ZoomTalks by UAHT. I am Taylor. In a previous episode, we talked about what led us to our journey, what part of our journey led us to United Against Human Trafficking. So, kind of to piggyback off of that episode, I wanted to ask everybody how UAHT has impacted their journey, both personally and professionally. So, I think Samantha is going to start us off.
Yes. So as mentioned in previous videos, my role at UHT is an outreach specialist. So that means, working with a lot of different populations within the Houston area to, reach out to them to talk about human trafficking. And we work with these populations because they are so vulnerable. And so it has been very eye-opening to see like the various needs needed by each specific group. So I feel like personally for me, working at UHT in this position and having this role has really shifted my view professionally about what I want to do long term for career goals. I always thought that I would end up being like a therapist, working with specifically individuals struggling with mental illness. And now I feel like, when the time does come to go to grad school, I would actually prefer going to studying social work. Because I feel like with social work, it's so much more, you're able to work with all these different populations, and you're not tied down to something specific based on your license, which I think is something that's really interesting to me. I think personally, working with all of these different individuals has also shifted the way I think and my perspective on how all of these things are interconnected, but also just realizing the complexity of, any kind of individual in these groups. So like I had a whole different idea of what being homeless, why someone was homeless, or like what someone that was homeless did in their everyday life, or like where they received help, or like how the housing situation worked. And so working with the homeless, the immigrants, the LGBTQ population, all of these have really expanded my view and perspective on the hardships that they all face.
Thank you. That was really cool, Samantha. So in my role as an education specialist, my specialty is learning about human trafficking and relaying that information to the community. And this is actually my first full-time permanent position at a nonprofit. My previous positions have been part-time or like a temporary year-long fellowship internship kind of thing. And I feel really lucky to be doing this work. It's something that I've cared about for a long time. So I had found out about human trafficking in 2008. And so in between like 2008 and 2019, so for 11 years, I had done like soft research about human trafficking, attended events, watched movies, read books, things like that. So I knew what human trafficking was and had a good understanding of it when I came into this role. But in the 6 months since I've been here, my knowledge has expanded so much. I do research all the time on like these specific niche areas of human trafficking and the specifics of how people get into it and the barriers they face to leaving and how specific populations are affected by human trafficking. And I can kind of consider myself a little bit of a subject matter expert, and sometimes I look back on just how much I've learned in the last 6 months, and I'm kind of blown away at the comparison of my understanding of this issue. So there's that. And then doing work that I care about so much. I think when you do a job that you really love, it doesn't feel like work. And, I come in and I do a lot of projects, and I'm always thinking of new ways to get this information to people in a really effective way. And so I feel really lucky that I can come to a job that allows me to be very creative and innovative in the way that I deliver this information. And on a personal level, I feel really happy to be able to do this work and work with such amazing people. And I think it's a really stark difference from previous roles when I had trouble connecting with the work that I was assigned. In this case, I'm like, I assign myself things to do because I get really excited by it.
Awesome. Well, a little bit in contrast to you, Sarah Jane, for me, I feel like this role, my role as an outreach specialist with UAHT, has actually given me a lot of breadth in terms of my knowledge, specifically because, like Samantha said, we work with so many different populations, and it gives me really a lot of insight into the manifestations of how the issue of human trafficking intersects with so many other different issues like homelessness, immigration, substance use, things like that. So I think professionally, it's allowed me to kind of connect some dots between issues I previously worked on and this issue, and really, like Samantha said, I'm going to use your word, see the complexity of all of this, especially how it manifests within one particular individual's life. So that's one thing that I think it's definitely helped me grow professionally in. But another thing I would say is just doing this work, I've always realized, I think, or I've always known that I'm really drawn to kind of work that allows me to directly interact with marginalized populations that that the work that I'm doing is supposed to benefit. And this job is exactly that. However, I do feel like the longer I've been in this work, the more I realize that, you can only help a particular individual so much before there's nothing else you can do. And that's because of these systemic factors, these systemic barriers that they face that either put them into a bad situation to begin with or make it that much more difficult for them to get out of a bad situation. And so that's kind of inspired me to, I guess before I had planned, I'm a planner, so I had planned my whole career to stay in the practice realm, really in that direct services type work, even if I did, move up more into management or something like that. But now I'm actually longer down the line, I think I'm gonna at least explore the possibility of going into something more like policy. I think that kind of systemic change is really what's needed to make the biggest impact on these populations that I care so much about. So I think kind of my plan right now, again, a planner, is basically spend significant time in the practice realm to kind of get that knowledge, get that on the ground experience that will help inform the best policies for those populations in the policy realm. So that's something exciting that I never thought, would be a development for me that I've gotten from this job. On the personal side, I think I've gotten a really good, I've gotten a lot better knowledge, I think, about my hometown of Houston. I grew up in Houston, born and raised, lived here for 18 years before moving to college, and I really honestly didn't know a whole lot about it. I don't think I had explored the city a whole lot, or maybe I have, but maybe just my little quadrant of the city since it's so big. But this job forces me to know geographically so much more about the city, even the outer areas, the populations, all the different communities that exist here, as well as the services and resources that exist. So on a personal level, that makes me happy because, I love the city of Houston. It's so much of the reason why I am who I am today. And I feel like a lot of that knowledge is not only helpful professionally for any other jobs, but also personally, just being connected or having friendships or family members that may need various types of services or resources. Now I know where they can find them or that they exist. So that's definitely made me happy personally. And similar to what you guys said, another personal benefit of this job has been just connecting with coworkers in the way that I've been able to. I think it's kind of funny because I don't think I thought that a job could be this positive on that coworker relationship level. as this job is. I guess it was like always formal, professional, like that's it. But we really, I think, connect in a personal way as well. We enjoy each other's company genuinely. So I really appreciate that about this organization.
And I'm gonna hop right in because that is a perfect segue into how I think United Against Human Trafficking has impacted me personally and professionally. I thought that the question, while the answers, it's not a simple answer, right? Like it's a professional and a personal journey. That's like really important, and we want to talk about and expand on that. But I think my answer is a little simple. And I think personally and professionally, I can toss it into the same category of just confidence. Is an area that I've seen so much growth within myself. UAHT has given me the tools to operate and connect youth who are in risky or vulnerable or even volatile and abusive situations, to connect those individuals with resources and to provide education and awareness to those same vulnerable populations, which is like again, Sarah Jane, you said this too, but like when you look back at your journey so far, it's sometimes you just like can't help, you don't have words. Like I'm stuttering because I don't have words that truly express how grateful and I think the word lucky was also thrown around too, to have had those chances given to me. And then, personally too, Brianna was talking about like the work environment is so supportive, but again, both personally and professionally. And so many times throughout, kind of waiting for my turn to speak, I was just thinking like everybody here, just in this little 4 person group is so awesome. And yeah, I think that's really as simple as I can put it. And I think I'm good with leaving it there. Does anyone have anything they want to add? No? Okay.
Other than just, I agree, all you people are amazing.
And that's not just us 4. Everybody that we work with, I truly value and adore all of you guys. So, yes. So thank you so much for watching our Zoom talks. And if you want us to talk about something specific, please let us know in the comments, or if you want to message us or call us and say, hey, you should talk about this in Zoom talks, then we can probably make it happen. So bye, everybody.